Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Crabby Morning. I am Dylan, and I am joined with...
Liam.
Kayla.
John. And a special guest.
Laurence.
Hello.
So today, our topic is going to be about friendship, and it's actually nice that we have Laurence on this podcast today, because Laurence is also a very close friend of mine, and he is the, like you've heard before in a previous podcast, he is the brother of John. But does anyone want to start us off on the topic of friendship today?
I would like to say something.
Okay.
Alrighty.
What is friendship? What does friendship mean to you? That is a question I'd like to ask you all.
Why do we make friends?
Yes.
I mean that's a very complicated question, because I think different people make friends for different reasons. Laurence, I know you had a few points about that before the podcast. Do you want to explain that to the listeners?
I'm actually doing my due research while we're talking.
Okay.
I wanted to look up like the etymology of ship, because I can't quite put my finger on it. Like relationship, sportsmanship, friendship. I'm trying to see the root word of ship and what it means, but that's not very important to the conversation. I was just very curious.
All right, Laurence.
Wait. I could actually say something about that. Like maybe the word ship would be referring to, like, you know, usually when you say ship, you mean like two people together doing something.
No, it means when you ship someone, you put them in a box, like a FedEx box, and then you ship them.
Okay.
Well, that would be another definition.
A little
Yes.
extreme, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I got a Reddit post.
Okay.
But it sounds very informed, the poster does. They say the suffix ship is related to an older Germanic word meaning to create, such as like in German they have the verb schaffen, to make. So to make relationship, to make friendship, to make sportsman.
Sportsman.
Take it as you like. But that's the root word. So we can take it as to make friends and to keep them. The things you do to make them and keep them. That's what I feel friendship is.
And who was what was the username of the person that posted that?
No.
I just saw it on Google. Let's call him out. Okay, shout out to just kidding. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
No. Shout out to Jeff from Monmouth.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Six
know
years ago,
him.
posted this
Do you know him, John?
Yes. I
Do
know
you
Jeff.
know him personally?
Thanks. I am actually Jeff Monmouth under a different name. All right. So Laurence was posing this question right before the podcast, which was weird why we started with this question, because Laurence had just answered it, I think, in the best way possible, because I couldn't explain it in any other way. And Laurence said, when we're making a friendship, we're either doing it to help someone or gain something from someone in the future, or to have a mutual friendship. Is that what?
Yeah, I was like, and I can't think of another reason. You guys chime in if you think of anything else. But I was thinking, for the reasons we make friends, it's either you could approach a random stranger on the street and you see them in a bad place. You want to help them with their life. Maybe have a friendly conversation, and then in the end you form a relationship. So maybe one reason you could say people make friends is to help others. I guess that's an edge case, because I don't have that many friends that I started off like that. But most friends, like you do it for a give and take relationship. You want a relationship to last, and it may be something something beneficial to humans internally. The more friends you have, the bigger the group you are, the higher chances of survival. You can look at that. if you're looking at bare bones survivalist perspective, yeah, you can look at it that way. But in today's world, it's a give and take. Like, I want to have a long-lasting friendship with you so we can laugh, live,
Love.
cry if you want, cry if you want together, but, you know, a shoulder to lean on. Yeah, it's a give and take, or it's, you know, you're just wanting to give that help, and who knows, maybe you could expect their mutual friendship in return. But I can't think of any other reasons people make friends other than to get that,
That's true.
long
Come to
lasting
think of
friendship.
it, I've known Dylan since we were 6. And I believe the whole first reason I came over here was because I was only allowed to play on the computer for 30 minutes a day. And Dylan had all the coolest video games of all time and all the best toys I've ever seen.
Yes.
So I would come over here and play games with him, and that's how the friendship started off. So I think it did start off as me wanting something from him.
Yeah, Dylan had something to offer, you wanted in, and then, but look where you are now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's much more than that,
I
Yeah.
guess so. That's true.
we would think.
No. I am, in fact, very grateful for our companionship, Dylan.
Oh,
I appreciate having someone there at like 10 o'clock and me being like alone at home and being like, oh, I can just go hang out with Dylan.
Which, to go off of that, you using Dylan for his video games.
All right.
Who's ever had like a toxic friend in their life where they kind of just used you for their own gain in some way?
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I was kind of trying to segue into like the friends that we had in, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, and how those relationships didn't last because either like we had altercations with those people, they ended up not being as good of friends as we thought that they were, or they just became distant. I mean, I'm pretty sure like every single person has that experience of like having somebody and then they're gone.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
totally.
Everyone can, a lot of people can relate to that, I think. But honestly, for me with toxic relationships, I probably met a few people that were like that, but I didn't really stay friends with them for long. It was probably like a few weeks, and then it was over because I realized how bad of people they were. But that's just kind of how you learn. I was friends with this one dude who ended up being like an a-hole to everyone else, and I didn't realize how much of a bad person he was until like after the fact. But I didn't hang out with him, thank God. So I dodged a bullet there.
Oh, jeez.
What about you guys?
I'm trying to think of a moment because I had a few instances where I've had people who I thought were my friends, but they were not.
Talking about the Crabby morning.
I don't like when you're a psychic, John. No. There was one kid, actually, when I was like in 6th grade. He was cool at first. Like, we hung out pretty much every day. And then I noticed there was a point where like he would brag about a lot of stuff that he had. He'd like rub it in my face, and I'm like, okay, that's not cool. I didn't appreciate that. And one day he's like, oh, you don't have this? Yeah, I guess. He said, I don't remember what he said, but he said something to me, and I was a very angry child. And that didn't sit well with me. So I started punching him, and then we got into a fight. And that ended our friendship, and I've not spoken to him since.
Wow. Well, that's one way to do it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I work with kids, once again, every time I say that. But I see a lot of friendships come and go between them. They say, you won't let me play with your fidget spinner. I'm not your friend anymore. And then they go off and cry. So there's something... So I think as we grow older, there becomes a more substantial thing between that tries to keep us together. What do you think that is that changes from a superficial friendship to a actual bond?
Because we realize that life is pretty lonely and we want to have people around us to socialize and keep us company and stuff like that.
That's true. Do you agree, Kayla?
I agree with that statement. Yeah.
Dylan?
I think so. I think that a lot of people end up with the wrong crowds just because they want to fit in with something that's outside of themselves.
Yeah.
But like a lot of stories have shown that doesn't really end well usually. But some people just get stuck there, and people aren't able to get out of it because they're in fear of like what will happen if they're completely alone.
So we're talking about why some friendships have ended before. What do you think is something that can keep friendships together? The key, if you would say, to a good friendship.
Understanding people and acknowledging that like even if someone's different from you, they still like have a lot of qualities that y'all both can relate to, and that can be a beautiful friendship.
I would say the number one thing would be an open mind with each other, to be able to be, I guess, trust each other to an extent. Be like, oh hey, or shoot, I don't know where I'm going with this. I guess just to say that you can rely on them in tough situations. They'll be there for you.
Kayla?
This is like what keeps friendships together.
Yeah.
What do you think holds us together as a group? Or are you with other friends? Doesn't matter.
Open communication, I think, is a big one. Having similar interests and goals in life is probably another good one as well. And I guess being able to work through differences / arguments if they're kept respectful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever met someone that you didn't vibe with, like you wanted to be their friend, but nothing, you'd like talk to them and every time it just felt weird? Like it felt like no bond was there. Do you think that's normal?
I've had that. I've actually I knew someone like that in high school that I could think of. But she seemed like she was going through a lot of problems at the time, and so she was pushing all of her friends away because, of course,
issues.
Yeah, I don't know what those issues
Yeah.
were, but she was, like I said, pushing people away because of that.
Yeah.
I just think it's so crazy. It's like we're like meant to bond with certain people, and with some people it's just a lot harder. And somehow all of this has become what it is now. All friendships are becoming what they are now. I don't know what I just said.
Yeah.
Anyways, I also wanted to ask, what do you think is
You up?
John.exe has shut down. So I think that we should go around and we should say, what do you think is something that you... Oh, that's what I was going to say. Erase, restart. So I think that a lot of people have this idea that friendships are black and white, and that like they have this imaginary thing of like what it's like to be a friend. Like I know as a child I would watch all these movies and shows and see all these
It just happens.
We were friends since we were babies, and now we do everything together, and we never have fights, and we always just hang out and finish each other's sandwiches. and now I remember like in high school, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, why are none of my friendships finishing each other's sandwiches? And it's because I had made up like this whole entire dream scenario of what it's like to have like a real friend, and I didn't realize how much friends I actually had in my mind that I was just not viewing correctly. And it wasn't a them problem, it was a me problem, because I had formed the wrong ideology of what a real friend would look like. Do any of you guys have similar experiences with this?
I would say yes. There was a time in my life where I don't know. It was like I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
So, as a kid, my dad was in the military, and so it was weird to make friends for me growing up because every 2 years I would move. So it's like, oh, I made some friends, and then I just leave and never see them again. So I guess I never really got attached to friends, I guess. So I would meet people and just like kind of just have that mentality of like, oh, I'm never going to see this person again. And
Do you think this hurt your bond?
yes, it did.
Do you think it affected how you acted towards them?
Yes, it did.
Uh-huh. All right. So, my next question is, how would you say that you would be a good step in making a friend or forming a relationship? Let's start at the very basis. Basicness.
Everybody knows this. Just start talking to them and ask them about what's all about them, and then just see what you have in common. I mean, it could be anything from like similar hobbies, similar jobs, similar personalities, some similar ideals. It could be anything. But I think that what people need to acknowledge too is that you're always going to have like conflicting sides from like each person. And what I mean by that is that like not every single person is a carbon copy of each other.
I don't agree with that.
And
I'm just kidding.
And I think that like part of a really good friendship is understanding the other person.
I really like what you just said, Dylan.
You do?
Yes.
Also, my thing is going to the very start of a friendship, like you never met this person before, have no ties with them whatsoever. There's something about them that draws you to them to actually make you want to consider being their friend.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of like what you said, similar interests and, personalities and things is kind of like a starter of wanting to get to know someone more for like friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's again up to the other person to really want to reciprocate and try to be your friend, because it could be just you want to be their friend, but they're kind of just like, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So.
Don't be too creepy. Don't be too pushy.
Yeah.
If you just ask a bunch of questions, they're not going to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're just a weirdo at that point.
Yeah. Yep.
And if they start walking away and you keep asking them questions, that
Read your potential friends'
Right.
expressions.
So
Right.
I should not tell all my future friends 100 facts about the octopus.
no.
Well, John,
Maybe
if you
like
want
5.
that kind of friendship, that's a great filter, because if someone gets through all 100, they're a keeper.
All right.
Start off with 5, John.
Let's move on. Well, Laurence, you have friends, right?
Wow, John.
Yeah, Laurence, you have friends?
I have one or two.
Do you? What do you think about best friends?
Best friends.
Do you think best friends is an entirely made up concept
I think,
or a silly thing?
in my experience, I thought I had best friend, and like over time, and I've spoken to my friends as well. There's not really, and this is just for me. There's not really a best friend you have. Like I have I guess, certain best friend that I would go hiking and talk about Star Wars things with. I have a best friend I would play Smash with. I have a best friend that I'd like working out with. They're my best friends in categories, and like they're still really good friends to me, but like I can't share the other things as much with, interchangeably. That's how, because I used to have like a best friend, and then after, time goes on and, get distant, you meet more people, you make more friends. It's kind of like, I have such good new relationships with these people, and these new things that I've been doing have become a big part of who I am. These are now my this is now my set of best friends. That's me. I don't know about you guys. But that's... What about you, Kayla? Best friend opinions?
So, hypothetically speaking, say you're someone who has a bunch of friends, like more than 5.
Okay.
Is it likely for you to kind of play favorites with the best friend? Like there's someone out of the group you tend to click with more than the others, so you consider them like your best friend, and then you just have your other friends.
I guess so. But in the end of you, I feel like I gravitate towards a lot of people, and I can distinguish people that I like their mannerisms and themselves, and then I can tell which ones I think are
John,
really
are you
cool.
my friend?
Oh, yeah. Liam, are you my friend?
Yes, I am your friend.
Thanks. I asked Liam that question a lot, and he was grateful enough to answer it yes every single time.
I mean,
Which means he is the keeper, Laurence. Good job, Liam. All right. Well,
I did want to add that, going back to the thing about best friends, I think that that's the wrong term to use. I would say that a more accurate word would be close friends. So like people, like you've been saying, that you're closest to.
mm-hmm.
And I think as well that when like what you were saying, Kayla, when you have like 5 people, but you have like one person that you kind of gravitate to a little more, it's good to have that, as long as like the other friends are acknowledged, because sometimes when you're focusing on one single friend, then you kind of drift away from the other friends sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, one thing I want to say is I've changed, I guess, is I used to want to have a lot of friends, but over the years I've changed that and have more quality friends, like a smaller group, like a lot smaller.
agrees.
There's nothing wrong with trying to have a lot of friends, but I think it's a much better route to just have a few close friends, like I've been
It's
saying.
hard to manage all the relationships at the same time.
Yes.
And still make them close instead of dispersing your appreciation equally.
Yeah.
It is like you are a finite glass of water, and you are trying to pour yourself out to all these people. And if there's like only 2 people, then you can pour your entire self and split them among 2 people. But if you try to be friends with 100 people and try to manage all those relationships, then you are like hardly significant. Like, would you rather get, like, I would rather get a half a glass of water than a little droppy drop. It would be like insignificant to me. You know, does that make sense?
Yes.
That's how I feel it. Oopsie.
Someone forgot to put the phone on silent.
Actually, that was my computer, which brings me to... Well, that doesn't bring me into anything.
Why do people talk to you?
Wait, what?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Back when we were all like, little small children, did any of you guys tend to only want to make friends with like other guys, or for me, other girls, versus like, mixing it all together? Like having both guy and girl friends?
I didn't discriminate. I just made friends with whoever.
That's actually a really good question. But for me, I would say I kind of the same as Liam. I didn't discriminate, but I think a big reason that a lot of people do go with their own genders as children is because
If you touch girls, you'll get cooties.
oh,
That's why.
well, children at a very young age are conditioned into like their own specific gender, so they, I guess, like in their minds they kind of lean more towards their own specific gender, at least at that time, because that's all that they know their entire life, even though they could make equally as good friends with the other gender as they would theirs. Yeah.
That's true. I have an experience with this.
Oh yeah, John?
I used to think that all of the guys at my school were buttheads. So I only made friends with the girls. Also because my only friends in previous years had been, I had been friends with everyone, but then the guys started saying weird stuff and being not nice. And so then I was like gravitating towards the girls. And it took a long time for me to be like, what? You're not a butthead just because you're a guy. Maybe I was a feminist as the middle school. But now I think that everyone is nice. I think that
Everyone
there's just
is
certain
equal
people.
trash.
Certain people are not nice, and certain people are nice.
So I'm guessing I was the only biased one then.
I was biased. Well, actually, for me, it was I was friends with mostly guys. I remember 2 girls that were a big part of my we were really close friends in elementary and middle school. One girl was this girl named Abby. Shout out to Abby. She was hanging out with my friend group. This was in like 5th grade, and it was me and 2 other guys, and it was her. And we'd like Pokemon cards were big at our school at the time. She'd have Pokemon cards. None of the other girls did, but like she would hang with our friend group just because her interests were so aligned with ours. And then fast forward to like 7th grade, different girl. Her name was Rachel. We started talking. I was really into Flash games at the time because we were poor and didn't have consoles, so we played all our computer games with using like free online browser games and stuff.
Yeah.
I was really into the Sonic games, like Sonic Flash, whatever. This girl was also really into Sonic. We'd talk through chemistry class about Sonic, but but yeah, our interests aligned. We were really good friends. Now we're distant just because, haven't kept in contact with them. But we've already gone over that, haven't we?
Yes.
Is that time, or is that keep going?
Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to talk about?
I'm done.
You're done? Okay. I think I will end this podcast off with the question of the day. The question of the day will be, why do you think we as people make friends? And what valuable lessons have you attained from your closest friends? Thank you guys so much. As always, like and subscribe, and have a crabby morning.
Thank you.